We are tracking a fast-moving political storyline that is now capturing attention well beyond South Africa's borders. Remarks attributed to Burkina Faso's transitional leader, Ibrahim Traoré, have ignited widespread debate after analysts interpreted them as an indirect but pointed signal aimed at President Ramaphosa and senior ANC leadership. Although formal diplomatic channels have remained restrained, the timing and tone of these statements have prompted raised eyebrows across the continent. Before breaking down what this development means and why it matters at this moment, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss updates as the situation continues to unfold. In recent days, political analysts have closely examined comments linked to Ibrahim Traoré that many believe carry implications deeper than their literal wording. Traoré has emerged as an outspoken critic of corruption, external interference, and what he characterizes as ineffective leadership models across Africa. Viewed through that perspective, observers argue his remarks resonate far beyond Burkina Faso and reflect broader continental frustrations. Although no nation was directly mentioned, South Africa's leadership has frequently surfaced in public commentary and analysis surrounding the statements, placing Ramaphosa and the ANC back under intense scrutiny. South Africa has historically been regarded as a regional heavyweight with significant moral and political influence, but that standing has been tested in recent years by internal rifts, persistent corruption allegations, and declining public trust dominating headlines. Analysts suggest Traoré's rhetoric aligns with the growing impatience across Africa toward liberation-era parties that critics argue have failed to deliver economic justice decades after independence. For some observers, the message appears more symbolic than confrontational, signaling that Africa's political momentum may be shifting away from entrenched elites. President Ramaphosa has consistently stressed diplomacy, reform, and institutional stability, yet this moment presents a different challenge, one shaped less by domestic opposition and more by continental perception. Political strategists note that even indirect criticism from influential African figures can reshape narratives and embolden critics within national borders. Inside the ANC, the remarks have reportedly intensified internal discussions around leadership direction, accountability, and how South Africa is perceived by younger, more radical political movements across the continent. Ibrahim Traoré represents a new and controversial political figure, known for his blunt language and strong appeal to younger audiences frustrated by inequality and what they view as neo-colonial influence. His rise coincides with a broader shift in African political discourse, where patience for slow reform is increasingly being replaced by demands for immediate change. Analysts argue this generational transition is something traditional parties like the ANC cannot afford to dismiss, especially as elections draw closer and voter loyalty becomes increasingly uncertain. Whether Traoré's message is seen as a warning, a critique, or a rallying call largely depends on perspective. Supporters view it as a necessary challenge to deeply rooted power structures, while critics contend it oversimplifies complex governance realities. What remains undeniable is that the message has landed, forcing discussions many leaders would prefer to avoid. For Ramaphosa and the ANC, this moment serves as a reminder that modern leadership is evaluated not only on domestic performance but also on continental relevance and credibility. Should the sentiment reflected in Traoré's remarks continue to gain momentum, South Africa may face growing pressure to demonstrate real progress on corruption, inequality, and governance reform. Failure to do so could erode its moral authority both within Africa and on the global stage. At the same time, analysts warn against overreaction, noting that diplomacy often unfolds quietly behind closed doors even when public rhetoric appears sharp. This evolving story underscores how interconnected African politics have become and how rapidly leadership narratives now spread. Whether this episode marks a turning point or fades into background political noise will depend on how leaders respond in the coming days. For continued balanced coverage of major African political developments, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your views in the comments.